Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. What is good? What is good? It's cold. You gotta have a cold jig, right? Oh my goodness. I thought that it would be helpful to share on 10 different skills that I think that even if you really mastered one, would radically change your life. I think sometimes we get caught up in all of the things we can do and all the things that we want to achieve, but it's more so about who you become on the pursuit or in the pursuit of those things, right? If we didn't have those things to pursue, we wouldn't be challenged, we wouldn't be stretched, we wouldn't be pulled out of our comfort zone. We wouldn't have a drive or a strong motivation for where we're going. Without vision, the word says people perish, right? So we need something to aim for, right? But we don't want to spend a majority of our time just focusing on that vision. Of course, you need to keep that in plain sight, not discounting that, but it's far more what we're mastering every day that adds up, okay? So 10 skills to master. I wanted to define skill. Skill is the ability to do something well. It's expertise. So to become a master at something, there's the 10,000 hours principle, right? But there's this idea of practice. If you practice something every day and nobody else is doing that thing, you're becoming the expert in that area just because the amount of time and effort that you've invested in that thing, right? Let me see if there's any others here. I want to pull something else that's helpful is sometimes see the synonym. So expertise, skillfulness, expertness. I didn't even know that one was a word. Adeptness, capability, efficiency, competence, prowess, mastery, aptitude, finesse, flair, art. That's interesting. Talent, cleverness, versatility. Also interesting. Ingenuity, knack, readiness. Powerful. So all that to say, skills are really, really important to develop. We develop them through the process of character development, through the process or the journey of spiritual maturity or just growing and becoming, right? Who we've been formed, shaped, and anointed to be on this earth. So what does the word say about skill? Here's a couple of things. Proverbs 22:29 says, "Do you see a man skillful in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men." Okay? So when you're skillful, you're sought after, right? When you're an expert in something, people will find you. They will need your expertise depending on what it is, right? Exodus 35:31, and he has filled him with the Spirit of God, with skill, with intelligence, with knowledge, and with all craftsmanship. That is so powerful. I hope you hear that. And he has filled him with the Spirit of God, with skill, with intelligence, with knowledge, and with all craftsmanship. So if you are born again, right, the Spirit of God is alive and well living on the inside of you. So you have these things and you can tap into them and you can activate them. But sometimes we don't because we don't recognize what we have, right? And it comes from relationship with God. He reveals and he makes known these great mysteries that he has hidden, right? In earthen vessels, us, okay? 2 Timothy 3:16 says, "All scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness." So to develop character, to develop skill, and a lot of our spiritual faculties, that comes from reading the word and staying in the word and applying the word to our life. And then lastly, 2 Timothy 2:15, "Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth." So sometimes, so powerful. I just recommend reading and reflecting on these things often. But sometimes we can feel guilt and shame and I guess a lot of dissonance in our soul. We are out of integrity with we know with what we know to be true, with what we know to be right. And we're not walking in that. And we've intentionally chose not to when we know better. That does something on the inside. And we make that a habit, we actually dull our senses. And we can also get to such a place where we have a reprobate mind, where literally we've decided almost we're too off center that we're not even available for God, really. Okay, so what are the skills that we can master? I'll just break some down for you. And I recommend just coming up with your own list. These were some that I could just pull, right? But come up with your own list of skills. Maybe come up with 10 things that you want to master this next year. That would be quite a different approach than just your average person. But imagine how much you could grow if you did that, right? So the first one on here is master the skill of speaking up. Master the skill of speaking up. Whether this is in a business meeting and you're normally always quiet, you let everybody else step up to bat, but you never do. Maybe this is in relationships with family. You let everybody else speak, everybody else articulate their opinion, everybody else perhaps even vulnerably share, but you are reserved, you hold back, you don't invest in that. You don't put yourself on the line, right? Speak up. It is a skill. And even if it's public speaking, that is a skill that challenges every human, right? No human is just like, ta-da, I love it, right? It's something that you master and something you practice and something that you can get really good at, or something that you continue to not be good at, but it will radically change your life, because expressing who you are, sharing ideas, that comes from speaking up and holding a lot of that stuff in. There's a time and place to be silent, but often we need to be doing more speaking up. All right. Particularly if you are quiet, you probably have a lot to say. Number 2 is be honest. Be honest, and be honest with God, be honest with yourself, and be honest with other people. That actually creates so much peace in your life, right? You're not trying to figure out what stories to keep together. You just, when you're honest and you have the same story everywhere, it helps you to show up authentically. So when you can be honest and real before God, you could likely be honest and real with yourself and then with other people as well. And it just changes the dynamic of how you relate with other people and the level of connections that you have also. Number 3 is have confidence. So a lot of times we enter into things that we don't feel ready for and that we don't feel equipped for, and God qualifies the called. So there's going to be a lot of things that we probably continue to feel that way about. I'll do this when, or when I figure this out, then I will, right? But the secret to having confidence is to just show up, to step out, take the step, right? When we leap, the net appears. So continuing to put yourself in positions where you are taking steps of faith, right? That's how you grow the confidence, because it's only in action that you can actually get feedback. Okay. So huge one. Number 4. Number 4 is listen. Whew. This probably the opposite of speaking up, but active listening is so important. You probably have heard how to listen, not just for when you're going to speak, but how to listen to really hear what somebody is saying and what they're not saying. Right? So what's the motive behind what they're saying, or what is the emotion behind what they're saying, or where might that be coming from? See what I'm saying? So if somebody is expressing, let's say it's in the context of a relationship, and it's a woman expressing herself to a man, maybe she's emotional, maybe she's expressing something. If he gets caught up in emotion, he's missing the whole thing. But what's behind what she's saying? She's saying, I have this need that's unmet. I have this concern. Maybe I need a word of encouragement. Maybe I need an affirmation, but there's something happening behind that emotion. And sometimes when you just listen for what you want to hear or for what you want to say next, that's when we can really mess things up. But when we listen, There's so much power. And sometimes we don't even need to have a solution. Sometimes that's all we need to do is just listen and hold space. So that is a wonderful skill to master. Number 5 is manage your time. This is so, so big. There's a statistic that 80% of our time we're actually spending doing things that just need to get done, like errands and house cleaning and whatever, just the things that need to get done. And 20% of our time doing the things that we're actually here to do. We spend so much time being busy that we're not effective, which is a huge, huge problem. Now we probably spend so much time just being on social media, right? But the crazy thing is we have YouTube, we have podcasts, we have sermons everywhere. We can constantly be developing ourselves and developing our gifts and really flip this number. What would happen if we legitimately spent 80% of our time on what we're here to do and 20% just getting the things done that need to get done? Just imagine that. Make that one your goal. Number 6, stop whining. Who's whining? Me whine never, right? But whining is making excuse, murmuring, complaining, venting, gossiping, like all of that is connected to whining. It's just expressing your dissatisfaction with something, right? Imagine with this one too, if you flipped it, find all of the things that you're grateful for. Find all of the things that you can celebrate. Find all the things that you can compliment. Which one do you want to get really good at? Because what you focus on grows. Which one do you want to get better at? This is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Stay present in the moment. This was something that took a ton of training, and it still does, because we live in a world that is like pressure, 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 hustle, 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 go, 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 right? So being present actually stops the mix a bit. Being present prevents you from living in your past. It also prevents you from just like constantly tripping about the future and being anxious about the future. When you're here now, that's where your power is. And that's how you can show up and be effective towards building what's out ahead of you, right? Which is like a magnet and can pull you forward, but you can't get there unless you're here, fully here now, taking the steps that you can today, because that's not promised. So how do you show up today and live? You stay present. There was actually an interview, I think it was with, it was one of my older clients, actually, and he was talking about how he really just wanted to live his best life or make the most of the life that he has left, right? Which is a very legitimate desire and also concern. And he was reflecting and leaning in and really taking some time to assess, how am I going to do that? Like, what does that practically look like for me? And what he came up with was just living present, being in the present and living each moment with presence. Powerful, powerful. You know, towards the end of his life, that's what he's realizing. Number 8 is be consistent. So just like having confidence, these two are almost connected. As we're consistent with things, whether it's consistent with taking risks, consistent with working out, consistent with eating clean, consistent with investing in the relationships that matter, consistent with our work ethic, whatever it is, that starts to build our confidence, because we start to, again, get feedback. When we see that we show up, when we see that we keep promises with ourselves, that builds. It builds what I call integrity momentum. So I keep promises with myself, and because I keep promises with myself, I can be trusted. Other people can trust me to handle things too, right? If we don't even keep promises with ourselves, it's hard to be confident, because then we don't believe somehow that we're worthy of keeping promises with, or that we're worthy of taking care of ourselves, or that we're worthy of these goals, right? If we don't show up and if we don't demonstrate consistency, we don't really have a strong vision or discipline. Number 8 is get enough sleep. A lot of times we don't need to be watching that show to zone out. We don't need to be scrolling social media. We don't need to be doing whatever it is that we're doing, right? We need sleep. We need sleep. The worst thing is to be tired in everything that you do. The best thing is to have passion, right? And to be fully there, fully present, and have and enjoy your life, right? Your life isn't just something that you get through. That's not the point, right? And getting enough sleep helps you keep that energy and that vibrance and helps you show up for your life. And then lastly, number 10, have empathy. This is so, so important in the world that we live in, to have empathy, because we never know what anybody is going through. And when we have empathy, when we can care, we can hold space, when we can relate with, when we can see that person, right? And really just be a source, even just a presence and comfort for them, that they're not alone. It is so powerful. It is so powerful. Sometimes we just need to be a little bit more human and a little less bionic, right? So as you think about a new year, as you think about how you're investing yourself, think about your own list of skills. What do you want to master? What do you want to get really good at? Is it leadership? Is it communication? Is it managing your finances? Is it stewarding your call? And then who can help you? Is it working with a coach? Is it investing in a service? Who can help you? Because you don't have to go at it alone, especially if you want to be effective. And then think about the long game. So if I'm not here, like if I'm committed to really becoming a master and I'm in it for the long haul, how am I going to build for long term versus instant gratification or instant results? Or see what I'm saying? How can I have that compounded effect? Because I'm more about legacy than I am just about instant gratification. When you start thinking about these things, when you start letting God reveal answers to you, when you start laying it out, you get a lot of clarity and a lot of wisdom, and then practical steps start forming because God establishes your steps. So my encouragement is to come up with your own list of skills, possibly some of these, and implement that, integrate that into your life, create ways to get really good at those things, whether it's investing in a course, getting a mentor, investing in a coach, committing to learning something new, reading certain books, finishing a book a month, whatever it is, but coming up with strategies and plans to really bring those skills to life, and watch what happens. You will absolutely have a new year if you do something like that. All right, guys, I hope this message blessed you. And until next time, stay blessed.